Hello and Assalamu alaikum, everyone. A very warm welcome to the SBL Webinars to Success for June 2024 exams. And I am your tutor, Kashif Kamran. Today is the day one of this webinar, and there is a lot in store for you over the next 3 days of this webinar. Let's start the proceeding of this webinar. Let's first take the overview of the webinar so you have an idea what is in store in this webinar over the 3 days. The focal point of this webinar is success, and that's the title of the webinars I am using since long now, known as webinars to success. So that's the focal point we need to aim at. Now, I have divided success into 3 parameters in this webinar for June 24. On the day one, I'll be looking at how the approach or how the good approach can contribute to your success in the SBL paper. On the day two, tomorrow, I'll be looking at how the techniques can help you in success in the SBL paper. And on the day three, I'll be joined by some of exceptional students from March 2024 exams who have produced exceptional results, scoring 70 plus marks in SBL paper. They will be interacting with you on the day three for inspiration to success. So this is the approach of this webinar, and that's what I will be focusing on a day-wise basis, and you will be learning a lot. Let's open the day one and let's start looking into the approach. So welcome to the day one of this SBL June 24 webinars to success. The focal point today will be on approach to success. Now let's see what we need to discuss inside approach to success so that you have a central idea of things that will come your way in the next 60 to 75 minutes. First of all, being familiar with the changes in SBL since September 23 exam sitting. Now, there might be lots of students watching this webinar who are doing self-study. Particularly, there is a risk with students doing self-study that are they fully aware of the changes. If you are under a tutor or you're taking classes from a college, the risk is mitigated because the tutor or the college must have made you aware of the changes which has come in SBL since September 23 exams, but the reinforcement of those changes are important. Number two, need to self-evaluate yourself. How important is it to self-evaluate where you are standing today when your exams are just 19 days away? Number three, setting the right timetable for the next 19 days. How crucial is that? Because a lot of time the students are confused. What should they do under 3 weeks time left for SBL exam, and what sort of things they should focus on over the next 19 days? Number fourth, avoiding the information overload. We are all living in the era of information overload. There is plenty of SBL resources over the internet. So what are ideal resources? What are resources you should focus on over the next 19 days of your study? So that's what we're looking for inside the approach to success. Let's open it and let's discuss each one of them in the order. I would first like to spend some time on the changes since September 2023 exams. So they are reinforced, and I will then be showing you a paper on the practice platform with all the changes, so you have an overview of the changes. Let's first discuss the changes narratively. If you look at the graph on the right-hand side of the screen, and you know these changes have come since September 23. The passing rate in September 23 went down to 50%. And that's quite normal because when there is a change in the very first exam sitting where the change has come in, normally the absorption of change among students is on the lower side, or the understanding of the change among the students is on the lower side. And they have a lot of fear factor because they're changing from the old pattern to the new pattern. So they were changing from the June 23 pattern to the September 23 pattern. So there was a slight dip in the pass rate, but not very alarming dip. But then in the December 23 exam sitting and the March 24 exam sitting, we saw the highest passing rates of SBL since it started in September 2018. This is the highest passing rate ever in SBL, back to back 52%. Now, this means that the changes are being absorbed. The students are very happy with the changes. The changes are going very well with the student community, and the changes are all very positive and are having a positive impact on the students' approach to exam paper. So the pass rates in the recent two exam sittings, December 23 and March 24, is at all-time high at 52%. And with that optimism, you're entering the exam hall for June 2024. It is a possibility that it might even surge to like 54%, considering there is so much awareness on the changes. The message of change has been disseminated among all stakeholders, and the students are very well versed with the changes. This means the changes are going well with students. I hope you agree with me. And the students have absorbed the changes positively because all the changes are positive and they have made the paper better in comparison to the paper you used to see in June 2023. So that's one thing. Now let's look at the changes one by one. Pre-seen, that's one of the biggest change. We know pre-seen case has come in the SBL papers. That's the only strategic level paper in ACCA qualification which has introduced a pre-seen material, and 14 days before the exam you get the pre-seen. So ideally for your June 24 exams, it would be somewhere around the 20th of May or 21st of May that you will be having a look at the pre-seen for your exams. I do the pre-seen debrief, but again, that debrief is limited only for my paid students. I normally don't do a free version of the pre-seen debrief. Number two, fewer tasks. You know, since September 23, the number of tasks in the paper have now been reduced to 3 only. This number is a definite number. It cannot be more than 3. It cannot be less than 3. There will be 3 tasks in your paper. Task 1, task 2, and task 3. So you have fewer tasks to spend time on in the exam paper. And that is something positive from the student mindset. If you look at the older papers, you could have tasks going up to 5 and 6 at times. Fewer exhibits to read on the day of exam. You will only have 4 exhibits to read on the day of exam, and the amount of information in each exhibit would be very limited. So you're not reading something like very lengthy exhibits. First of all, there are only 4, and the amount of information in each exhibit is very less. So less to read and less to solve. So you're reading just 4 and you're solving just the 3 tasks. This also means that it's quite possible and it's quite realistic that one task connects with one exhibit or one task connects with 2 exhibits. So there could be a task which only connects with one exhibit and you get the answer. There could be a task which connects with 2 exhibits and you get the answer. And I'll just be demonstrating that shortly. So very less to read and very less to solve on the day of exam. Each professional skill, you know, there are 5 professional skills in the paper. So each of them will be tested in the paper. So no skill will be omitted. Each skill will be tested. Commercial acumen, communication, analysis, skepticism, and evaluation. Each of them will be tested once for 4 marks. So 4 marks multiplied by 5 skills, you're getting 20. There will be no repetition of skills. We used to see up to June 23 exams that some skills could be repeated, like analysis could be repeated twice or thrice in the paper. Skepticism could be repeated twice in the paper. Commercial acumen could be repeated twice in the paper. No more. Since September 23 exam, each skill will be tested. So you will not see any omission of skill. All 5 skills will be there in your paper, but each skill will be tested for 4 marks. So that's one of a change and a better change, because that means you are getting every skill in your paper and you should be prepared for each one of them to handle and reflect that in your answer. Next, the time management. The time for the paper has now been reduced to 195 minutes. That's comparable with all the strategic level papers of ACCA. So you're not sitting in the exam hall for 240 minutes and getting exhausted. 4 hours was a very long time to sit in the exam hall. So because of the advent of the pre-scene, and you're reading less on the day of exam, you're solving less on the day of exam, all that has resulted in a lesser time, which is 195 minutes. That's the time you end the paper. What's the time management? How you handle 195 minutes between the whole paper in terms of reading and planning and writing. I will be doing that in terms of my exam techniques to success on day 2. So I hope you're all familiar with the changes which are coming in front of your screen now. Is that clear to all of you? Is that the understanding you all had about changes? I hope I've not given you any new dimension of a change. These were the changes which needs to be reinforced among all of you. Is everyone clear with the changes since September 23 before we move on and start exploring them in a bit more depth? Okay, great. And do you all agree these changes are positive? Because if you're solving the old papers and you're solving the recent papers, I hope you find the older papers a bit more lengthier than the recent papers to solve. Right? So I hope you take them as positive. Next, changes since September 23. The introduction of the pre-scene case, 14 days before the exam, has provided students with insights into the industry and the organization. 2 things: its issues, governance, risk, challenges, and at some times the financial information of the company is given in the pre-scene. This has helped students to build the right context before the exam. There are lots of issues with pre-scene. I've already covered them in my previous webinars for September 23 and December 23 and March 24. I'll be sharing a link of that. You can watch it and save your time. I've already covered the mistakes the student do with pre-scene. Pre-scene is released 14 days before exam, and it is there to provide you a context of the type of organization and of the type of industry you will be facing on the day of exam. You will be familiar with the jargons. You will be familiar with the way the industry operate. And once you get to the exam hall, with the pre-scene information being absorbed, understanding the information in the exhibits or reading the information in the exhibits on the day of exam would become easier for you. There is no space that you rote learn the pre-scene. I've seen a lot of students rote learning the pre-scene. A lot of students just trying to put the pre-scene in their mind that they should not forget it on the day of exam. You need to understand there are lots of issues with pre-scenes, which I will start to discuss shortly. You go to exam environment with a well-developed context. So you know the industry, you know the organization, you know the issues, you know the challenges, you know the governance, you know the financial performance. So you have the context, you're not blank. And this help you naturally around reading additional exhibits on the day of exam. So when you're reading something in the exhibit, you will not be unfamiliar with the terminologies. You might not be unfamiliar with the name of the management or designations of the management. So you will recall or remember most of the things because that's connected with the pre-scene material. Pre-scene information is not to be rote learned. It's just to make you familiar with the industry and the organization. Pre-scene is not the answer. That's the most important thing. And I've already covered the examiner report for December 23 on that. You can find my webinar. I'll be sharing a link of that. And examiner was very clear in that December 23 examiner report that students forcefully apply the pre-seen material into their answer when pre-seen is not the answer. Pre-seen is there just to provide you the context and just to prepare you naturally around the industry and the organization, which can bring a remarkable impact in use of jargons in your answer, a natural flow of your answer, but it's not the answer. The answer lies in the exhibits which are given to you on the day of exam. The answer lies in the exhibits which are given to you on the day of exam. Pre-seen is just naturally helping you. You might relate something naturally. It's not a forceful application of pre-seen. It's not the forceful application of pre-seen. It's not like I have to apply pre-seen in every requirement, because examining team is very clear that it's not the answer. So please ensure I'll be sharing the links of my pre-seen sessions I've already done, along with the examiner report for December 23 on YouTube channel. And you can just watch that video for 30-35 minutes, and you will understand all the issues the student do with pre-seen, which you should be avoiding for the June 2024 exams, because your pre-seen is just around corner. I hope you're clear with this pre-seen and what's the purpose of pre-seen, why ACCA has introduced pre-seen, so they can make you familiar before you go to the exam hall, save your exam time, and you can focus on the exhibits to draft your answer. So it's just there to provide you context. So no rote learnings and no waste of time on pre-seen, as if like you're giving like 4 to 5 hours daily on pre-seen. That's useless. You just need to develop your notes and then just go revising your notes around pre-seen. Don't forcefully link or apply pre-seen in your answer. We just discussed that. Okay, changes since September 23. Further. Additionally, there are now fewer exhibits. We discussed that. There are just 4 exhibits in the paper now, and fewer tasks, only 3, for which reason the time limit for the paper is now 195 minutes. On day 2, I will be discussing how to utilize 195 minutes and what is the best time management approach for the paper now. So stay tuned for the day 2. You have less to read on the day of exam, and with fewer tasks to perform, you can all do better. Success lies in the case-based answers and your well-developed points, which will be catered on the day 2 of the webinar. How you read the exhibits, how you connect your exhibits with the task, how you write an answer which is case-specific, how you develop a point well using headings and subheadings, demonstrating professional skills, demonstrating journal professionalism. This all is important if you want to score really good marks in SBL paper. So everything is positive, less to read, less to write. You just need to make connections of the case within your answer, and you just need to ensure that you are demonstrating both the professional skills and the journal professionalism when you're writing in your answer, which will all be demonstrated on the day 2 of this webinar. Okay, just let's take a quick look at the paper since September 23. So I'll just take you to the practice platform and we'll have a paper as an example. Can you all see the practice platform in front of your screen? And you can see the December 23 paper right in front of your screen, which was about the NC Tech as an organization. Please confirm you can see this paper as an example. Great. Okay, now the changes I discussed with you, I just would like to show you so that is effectively implemented. Now, this is how the paper structure would look like on the day of exam for June 24. On the left-hand side, you can see there are just 4 exhibits, 1, 2, 3, 4. The first exhibit is about data breach investigation. The second is about IT security. The third is about talent management. And the fourth is about board transcript. Now, when you're reading a task, and in the task, they're talking about something like IT security. So that means the answer of that is in the exhibit 2. Or if you're reading a task and the task is talking about the talent management, then that means the answer of that is in exhibit number 3. Or you're looking at a task which is talking about some breach, data breach, then the answer for that is in the exhibit number 1. Now, with less tasks and less exhibits, it has become possible in the SBL paper that one exhibit can connect with one task and you wrap up the answer. In certain cases, two exhibits connect with one task and you solve the answer. Now, on every window, you can see one task at a time. You will not see all the three tasks together, as you used to see in the June 23 exams. Now, one task, one window. So can you all see the task 1 on the first window in front of your screen now for 36 marks? And you click and open the task 1, for example. Now, the task 1 is telling us something about an investigation into the recent data breach. So that means the answer to task 1A lies in exhibit number 1. So I only read the exhibit 1 and I'll get the answer for 1A. Then I go down to the second part. It says, you have been provided with the relevant extracts of the NC Tech current IT security manual. So the task 1B is talking about the IT security manual. So that means IT security manual is the exhibit number 2. So exhibit number 2 will provide me the answer for task number 1B. So I hope you're picking this. When you read the opening paragraph before the task, you will come across a terminology which will help you pick which exhibit to connect the task with. So I saw the word IT security manual, and on the left side, you can see there is an exhibit on IT security. Then over here, I saw investigation into the recent data breach, and there was an exhibit with the title of data breach investigation. So task number 1 will connect with how many exhibits? Tell me. How many exhibits you need to read for task number 1? 2. So now that is very sure that for the remaining task number 2 and task number 3, how many exhibits will be there? We just left with 2 exhibits and 2 tasks after this, right? So we're left with 2 exhibits and 2 tasks after the task number 1. So things will become easier for you. That means every task will connect to one exhibit later. You go this way to the next window, you press the next button, and you see the task number 2. You open the task number 2, and you see in the task number 2, they are talking about something about they're talking about the current NC Tech board structure and membership have stayed unaltered since the company listed on the Farland Stock Exchange 5 years ago. However, the board members are due to retire in the next year. The chair of the nomination committee believes that the consideration should be given to a more diversity on the board as part of the succession planning. He has asked you to advise him on the issues related to board diversity. Now, there is no specific exhibit which is talking about board diversity, so quite possible it's included in the talent management because diversity is part of talent management. In the second requirement, you can see the word is very clear, article on talent management. So you're very sure, okay, this will connect with the exhibit number 3, which is talent management. So for a minute, you open the talent management and you see, is there anything about diversity in talent management? So you open the task, you open the exhibit number 3, and you see, is there anything about diversity in this talent management? Okay, so there is nothing about diversity in talent management. We'll just open the board transcript number 4, the exhibit number 4. Okay, there's nothing about board diversity here as well. Now, definitely, this question about board diversity is asking you a very journal question. He's asking you, write a briefing paper to the chair of the nomination committee, which explain how NC Tech could benefit from a more diversified board of directors. Now, you're talking about the journal benefits of diversity, which you must have read somewhere in the books, but you are adapting those benefits to NC Tech. Now tell me, do you have a context of the pre-scene when you're sitting in the exam? Do you have read about the board of directors in the pre-scene? Are they diversified? Are they not diversified in terms of gender, experience, something like that? So can you bring some sort of your pre-scene knowledge here when you are adapting the benefits of diversity according to NC Tech? Because no exhibit is helping you here, but you're just trying to write the journal benefits of diversifying the board. There is already an article of the examiner, right, which tells us benefit of a diversified board. I hope you've read the article. So you can bring those headings, and you can tailor those headings according to NC Tech. So some context of pre-scene can come over here. Is that clear to all of you? So there was no specific exhibit which is covering diversity, because this is quite a straightforward question testing your knowledge for 10 marks. So task number 2A is more a journal answer, your knowledge coming in and adapting to NC Tech. So task 2B was more about talent management. We already have an exhibit for that. And then you open up the last task number 3. We are definitely sure that it will be from the board transcript, because that's the only exhibit remaining. So you open the task number 3 and it asks you, the marketing department has undertaken a client survey to assist with the future strategic planning, but the results are inconclusive. The survey was discussed in the latest board meeting. So the survey was discussed in the latest board meeting. Now, where is the latest board meeting? Exhibit number 4, board transcript. So the answer of task 3 lies in the board transcript. So what's the summary? Task number 1 was connected with 2 exhibits. Task number 2 was connected with only 1 exhibit, which was talent management. But one part of the task 2 was about diversity, which relates to your bookish knowledge, and then adapted to the context of the case. And the task 3 relates with the exhibit number 4. So in that way, you are pretty sure which exhibit to read and where to find the answer from. So you're reading a limited information, and from that limited information, you're trying to answer the requirement. Is that clear to all of you? The time management, the techniques to write the answer, that all comes tomorrow. Okay, so that is it, right? Just let's go back to what we were discussing. We were discussing the changes since September 23. I hope the changes have been absorbed by all of you effectively, number 1. Number 2, you have seen the December 23 paper, how things were structured in terms of 4 exhibits and 3 tasks, and how you can identify which exhibit relates with which task, so you can effectively answer the requirement. Moving on, day 1. Self-evaluate yourself. Now, once you know the changes and you know the exams are 19 days away, self-evaluate yourself is the key to success. Let's see how and what benefits. With exams just 19 days away, it is important that you self-evaluate yourself, that where you are standing today and what is left, because you are the best judge of your preparation, not me. Identify the gaps, what is left, identify the gaps and fill them up with an effective timetable ASAP. So will all of you be conducting a self-evaluation in the next few hours after this webinar comes to an end? Sit down and see where are you standing now? What is left? Identify the gaps and try to fill the gaps by making an effective timetable which can spread over the next 19 days. I'll just be showing you an example of that timetable which you can utilize. But evaluating yourself is critical, right? Because each one of you will have a different answer to the self-evaluation. Some of you might be 80% prepared by now. Some might be 70% prepared, some might be 90% prepared, and some might even be 50% prepared because they were not getting leaves from the office. They are going for jobs. They're finding very less time. So every one of you have a different looking picture. If you have booked your exams for June, which you already have, that's why you are in the webinar, this is a do or die situation for you. You need to look into your daily challenges and daily obstacles, and you need to find the best approach to utilize these 90 days. All of us are with challenges. All of us are with obstacles. And all of us are with distractions. You need to understand your own limitations, your own distractions, your own challenges. Then try to find how would you best utilize the 19 days, because you need to pass. You need to pass in the June 24 your SBL paper. That needs to be the goal. If you set that goal and you are determined towards that goal, you will do it. So ensure you sit down today and do the self-evaluation and try to find the best approach for the next 19 days. Is everyone clear with self-evaluation? Before we move to the right timetable for 19 days, I'll show you an example. You can use my example. You can make your own example. But again, self-evaluating yourself today is important. At times, we are going very disorganized, or the track we are going is not very good. So it's important that we self-evaluate and see, are we progressing on the right track? Are we approaching on the right track? Or we need to change it? So at least the aim has to be success, and you need to have a good timetable for that. Let's see an example which I thought would be relevant for all of you for 19 days. This is some sort of a timetable which I try to construct for you, assuming today is the 16th of May. So I took the week 1 from 16th May to 22nd of May, one column. I took the week 2 from 23rd of May to the 29th of May, and I took the week 3, which is from the 30th of May to the 3rd of June. I identified some things which needs to be done over the 3 weeks. Number 1, fill the gaps. Now, I'll be guiding you what fill the gaps is, because once you do your self-evaluation, each one of you will find the gaps, and each one gaps will be different. Someone must have done everything, so you have no gaps. Some must have done 70%, so you still have 30% gaps. Some of you must have done 60%, so you have 40% gaps. You need to find your own gaps. What's remaining? What is still left? What sort of resources were you going through to study for SBL? How much of that resource is still left to be completed? So fill the gaps is your own answer. Number 2, technical articles. I'll be telling you which technical articles to read, how many technical articles to read, and then we can divide them over the 3 weeks time. We'll come back to this table, dividing the articles, how much articles to read in week 1, week 2, and week 3. Past papers. I'll tell you how many to do in 19 days, and then we'll divide them over week 1, week 2, and week 3. So I've kept the spaces empty so we can fill it during the session. Examiner reports. How many? But I will be telling you that. But I have ticked examiner report in week 1 and week 2, because you need to read the examiner reports before you do the real mock, because you want to find the criticism of the examiner. You want to understand the criticism of the examiner. So before you do the mock, you should know the criticism. You must have made the notes of the criticism. So once you do the mock in week 3, right here, you do it perfectly. If you do a mock paper not knowing the criticism of the examiner, you will be doing the same mistakes in the mock, which will be very bad. So mock is the real test, right? Ahead of your real June exams. So try to do it in perfection, right? And that's why I put the examiner reports in the week 1 and 2, not in week 3. ACCA pre-scene for June 24. You know the pre-scene will be out somewhere around 21st of May. So you will start the pre-scene from week 2. You'll start reading it and making notes of the pre-scene. And then in the week 3, you will just be reading through it. You will read pre-scene once, you'll make the notes, and then you will just keep revising notes every day for 10, 15 minutes or 15, 20 minutes, just to keep things in context in your mind. The ACCA pre-scene mock, which is already published. We know the mock was published on 13th of May. It's already there on the practice platform, but I would prefer that you do the mock in the week number 3 as the final thing ahead of your June exams. So some ticks have been given. Something needs to be explored, which I will just be discussing with you shortly. So this is sort of a timetable. You can look into, you can change this. You can adapt this according to your own circumstances, according to your own challenges, but you all have 3 weeks time to prepare yourself to perfection for the upcoming June exams. Mohammed Mohsin, I'll just be answering your question in the last 5 minutes of the webinar. So you can just copy paste that once I asked that any student have any questions. Is everyone clear with this planner in front of your screen before we go into every aspect of this planner in the left column? So please ensure you adapt the tick marks according to your own situations. Focus on the right resources, which I was telling you in the study planner. We are living in the era of an information overload. There's so much resources over the internet. You get about SBL, the books, the videos. The students keep sharing resources in the WhatsApp group. And if you're part of it, every day you get a new resource and you get distracted. First of all, you need to avoid distractions. You need to put the social media on hold. You need to keep yourself off the social media for next 19 days as much as possible so that you can focus on your studies for the next 19 days. Right resources. Living in an era of an information overload with plenty of information in front of us, what's the best resource to use? And I've just identified that in the planner, but I will just be going over it again. Your resources, first of all. What resources are you using till now? You are attending this webinar, right? So what resources are you using till now? Because you want to continue with the same for the next 19 days. So first identified your own resources. I'll just come to that shortly. I've found students very disorganized. They have plenty of resources on the table. They have plenty of resources on their mobile phone. They have plenty of resources on their laptops, but they're not sure which to read, which one to give emphasis, which one to give importance. Because every resource they get over the internet, they just download it and save it. And at the end of the day, they're scattered. Which one to go for? Which one is the best? Number 2, technical articles. I'll be telling you which one to read. Past papers, which ones? Examiner reports, which one and why? Pre-seen, definitely pre-seen is must. That's a must of a right resource for your actual exams and then the mock exams. So this is the definition of the right resources in the era of the information overload, and particularly the definition of the right resources for the last 19 days we have. Let's go one by one in each one of them. Your resources. What resources are you using till now for technical grasp? Tell me quickly. For technical grasp, what resources are you using? Quick answers. Okay, you're using My Notes. Okay, My Notes. Okay, Amina, Muhammad Salman Siddiqui. Okay, My Notes, Muhammad Mohsin, Usman Rana, My Notes. Okay, anyone else other than My Notes? Any other resource you're using so far, so forth? Any other answers quickly from, okay, you're using resources of Scans College. That's perfectly fine. You're using the study notes and the chat GPT for clearing confusions. Good, very good. ACCA Study Hub, excellent. Matthew. Okay, so quite a diversity. My resources, Study Hub, another college resources, chat GPT, etc. Again, that's playing a crucial part in our way we are preparing for exams as well. Thank you. So every one of you have a resource, right, which is giving you the technical hold of the syllabus. ACC Study Hub, some of you might be using that. If you're using it, stick to it. Don't change it in the 19 days. ACC Study Hub is an ideal resource if you're doing a self-study, even if you are under a college and you're using the Study Hub from the day one, excellent. But there is no time to change your approach now. Number 2, enrolled under a tutor and you're using the tutor resources or whatever the guidance tutor has given you, excellent. As some of the students told me, they are registered under me and using my resources. Some told me they're registered on the scans and using the scans resources. Perfect. Number three, Kaplan or BBB study text. Some of you might be following the Kaplan book or the BBB book. Perfect. Whatever resource you're using, stick to it and find the gaps. Find the gaps which are still remaining. Find the chapters which are still remaining and things you need to do, because you need to fill the gaps over the next 19 days. Technical articles. When preparing for exams, students often overlook technical articles. Very strange, which can be detrimental to their success. Did you know that SBL webpage has a total of 38 articles and you have 19 days? Even if you read 2 every day, you can finish it, but that's too much. You should have read these 38 articles over the span of your study for June exams by now. But now when exams are 19 days away, what you should be focusing on. The students who are enrolled under me, I always emphasized on reading technical articles, because technical articles is the language of the examiner. Technical articles is the mindset of the examiner, and you need to follow it on a serious note. If you want to know how things can be tested in future exams from a topic, because every article gives you an exam perspective. So if you read that paragraph of exam perspective, you're very well versed how this could come in. But with a shortage of time, I would prefer that you read 15 important articles out of the 38, and I will just be giving you a list of those 15, which should not be missed. 19 days and 15 articles. Check and self-evaluate yourself which of them you have already read. Find the gaps. The gap could be you have read nothing. The gap could be you've read 6 to 7 out of them. So find your own gaps. Responsible leadership under syllabus area A. You will find these articles on the website for SBL. I have put the bracket, the syllabus area. These are the titles of the articles exactly from the website. So responsible leadership under syllabus area A, culture and configuration under syllabus area A, environmental and sustainability issues under syllabus area B, diversifying the board, we already saw that in December 23 paper, syllabus area B, integrated reporting framework, we know that's such a favorite question of your examining team, syllabus area B, growing in partnership. That was a very recent article which was published ahead of the March 24 exam. There is still a potential of something being tested from this article. So you need to take it as something very, very important. Syllabus area C. Market segmentation, syllabus area C. We know that's quite a favorite question of your SBL examining team. 4 line of defense and assurance mapping. We know risk is an important area for exam. Risk is very regularly tested, so you cannot take any risk in the risk syllabus area. COSO, enterprise risk management, another article from the risk syllabus area, because risk is an important syllabus area for SBL exams. Cybersecurity, we know a lot of question comes on technology. Examiner is very obsessed with cybersecurities and questions around cybersecurity. So please don't undermine its importance under syllabus area E. Principles of e-marketing under syllabus area E. Applying the big data, there are plenty of questions on big data, benefits of big data, challenges of big data in the past papers. So please explore this as an article. Assessing organizational performance. We know a lot of question comes on financial and non-financial performance. Examining team asks you to assess the financial and non-financial performance. So please don't ignore the article on number 13th. Number 14th, project documentation, project roles and project responsibilities. You know, a lot of question comes on the PID, project initiation document. A lot of question comes on the role of the project sponsor, role of the project manager. So please ensure you're well versed with it. And finally, the Beldrich performance excellence model. 15 articles in front of your screen. They're all very repetitive questions in the past paper. So 15 articles, what to do? Go back to your timetable. We were looking at week number 1, 7 days. Week number 2, 7 days. So I'll try reading 7 articles here. and I'll be reading my 8 articles in the week 2. I will not keep any article for my week 3 because that's a week where I need to revise, do the mock, refine the pre-scene. So I'll not keep anything extra for the week 3. So 7 and 8, week 1, week 2. That's how it should look like. Okay, moving ahead. Okay, so we got the resources you are using. We got the technical articles. I hope you're fine with that. Okay, then comes the more important thing. Practice. Past papers. Which ones? Big question. To me, it's the quality, not the quantity of the past papers you're doing for the upcoming SBL June 2024 exams. And I believe the ones which are applicable since September 23 exams because of the changes, that should be your first priority. So since September 23 paper, how many papers can we do under the new structure? How many papers are there available under the new structure before we do the older papers, which are not under the new structure, but still are relevant for the side of practice? Priority 1, you can see this here, 8 papers. 8 papers will come under priority 1, which are under the new format. 2 specimen exam on the practice platform. These are all on the practice platform, right? 2 specimen exams on the practice platform, applicable September 23. Practice exams, 3 of them. ACC has given you 3 practice exams, 1, 2, 3. They're all under the new format. ACC has given you 2 specimen exams applicable September 23. So that's a total of 5. Then you have a past exam library. You have a September 23 paper already available. You have a December 23 paper already available, the actual paper. We just saw the NC Tech in the webinar today. And then the mock exam for June. That all makes 8 papers under the new format, 195 minutes, 4 exhibits, 3 tasks, so on and so forth. 8, priority. Done with 8, priority 2. Priority 2, past exam library on the practice platform. Once you've done the priority 1, the past exam library on the practice platform contains paper of 2021, 1 I think, 2022, 2, and 2023, 3, up to 5 papers. These are up to June, right? Up to June 23 we are talking about, because from September 23, we have put the papers under priority 1. So up to June 23, these are all old papers, which will go under the priority 2. You can still solve the old papers because you're still getting the right amount of exam practice, irrespective of the change in time management or the number of exhibits, etc. But the approach to answering the question is still the same in old and new papers. Yes, I will be sharing the presentation in the group as well, Rovimbo, if you are in the group, so you can copy from that. I will be sharing the presentation over the next 1 hour in the WhatsApp group. I hope you're all in the WhatsApp group, the global WhatsApp group for SBL, or anyone can just share the link of that group here in the chat box. Any student can just share the link of the global SBL group, right? Not my paid ones, the global SBL group. Okay, is everyone clear with the priority 1 and 2 for past papers? So it's about 8 papers here, and it's about 5 papers here. So that in total is 13 papers. How many days you have? 19. A paper a day. You can still do it. But your priority has to be the 8 papers. Even if you do that, that's perfect. So will you divide these 13 papers over 19 days, all of you? Will you start first from the priority 1, evaluate yourself where you are standing, how much of this has been done, how much is still remaining? So just evaluate yourself in terms of priority 1 and 2, how much you have done. So you have total of 13 papers. You have 3 weeks, divide them, go ahead, make your timetable. Next, examiner reports. I'm very concerned as a tutor, and I'm always very concerned as a tutor. Thank you, Usman, for sharing the link to the WhatsApp group. I hope you can all join in. So I was discussing that I am always very concerned as a tutor whenever I talk about examiner report in any webinars. Students are not reading it. Students are not bothered about reading examiner report. This is a resource which they are not utilizing at all, or very least. Some of them might be using it, one like 2 in 100, 3 in 100. This is the best resource because if you read through the examiner report, you will get to know the issues, the problems the student do in SBL. And you need to be well versed with that in order not to repeat them in your mock exam and your actual exam. If you read through the examining team report, I will recommend two of them. The two examining team reports is the latest one, September 23, December 23, only two. So you can read one in the week 1, you can read one in the week 2, and make the notes. Please make notes from the examining team examiner reports. I've already covered the examiner reports in my recent webinars. I'll share a link of that. You can explore that link. And you can find my videos on examiner reports. You can just listen to them as well. But I would prefer that you download them, read them, and make your notes. I always tell my student that when you're reading the examiner report, you should have red, you should have blue, and you should have green. Green you will underline something in green if you think examiner is appreciating a student. Examiner is saying stronger students. So whenever examining team says, oh, these are stronger students, you will underline that in green. Take a note of that. This is what a stronger student do, and I have to be a stronger student. You will underline something in red where the examining team criticize. Very harsh. Examining team tells this is what the student do wrong, or examining team talk about weaknesses. Underline that in red. So you will download the report, right? And you can take a printout and use 3 color markers, right, for this. Blue. Blue is for advice. Examining teams gives a lot of advice. They tell future students. They give advice to the future students. So wherever they're giving you an advice, note it down in blue. If you read the two reports with the red, blue, and green analysis, you know the weaknesses, you know the advices, you know the strengths, you're taking the notes, you've made a summary of that. So once you do the mock paper, you have that in mind. You will not be repeating the weaknesses. You will be implementing the strengths and you will be implementing the advices. In that case, the quality of your answer will go up. So you can even read examiner reports over the next 2-3 days and then start to practice the 8 past papers, which is in the priority list 1. You will see a remarkable improvement coming in your answers. Will all of you do this? Will all of you make notes of this red, blue, green effectively, reading through examiner reports and finding how to go down with it? I'll just show you a glimpse shortly of it. So what you should find from the examiner reports? Student issues around pre-scenes and application on the day of exam. Examining team covers that very well in the exam reports, that what student do wrong with pre-scenes. Just like I mentioned that pre-scene is not the answer. Pre-scene should not be rote learn. What examining team expects from student around pre-scene. This is also given in the examiner report. Stronger students, what they do. This is given in the examiner report. Weaker student, what they do. That's given in the examiner report. What is the definition of a well-developed point? How you write a well-developed point in SBL, which is worth 2 marks. Examining team to justify that. Any advices of the examiner for the future candidates and how to excel professional marks. So you can get so much from the examining team report, which you can constructively utilize in the practice you're doing at home, and that can really improve the quality threshold of your actual June 24 exam you will be doing. So please ensure you make a habit of reading through the examining team reports. Just let me show you a glimpse of that quickly. Okay, I hope you can see the examiner report screen in front of your windows now, your gadgets. Right, so you go down and you just open one examiner report like December 23. Just let it open up. Can you see the December 23 examining team report in front of you in a PDF form? Okay, great. Now see how many pages it's going on. It's going up to 16 pages. They're giving you the journal comments about the paper. They're giving you comments about the format of the exam. They're giving comments about pre-seen information. They're giving performance about overall exam performance. They're giving information about how you plan. They're giving information about time management. They're giving information about reason for exam failure. They're giving information about technical marks, how you can excel on technical marks. They're giving information about professional skill marks. Then they're giving specific task 1, task 2, task 3. They're telling what student did good and bad in task 1, good and bad in task 2, good and bad in task 3. Productive reading. Just click on this reason for exam failure, page number 6. See, they're giving you so many reasons why students fail. Read it, understand it, apply it. Sorry, avoid it. Try not to repeat it in your mock paper, in your actual paper. So please ensure that you're going through it. So please ensure you make use of these 2 examining team reports. 2 is not a big number. I hope you can read through it, but you will be amazed how much learnings will you be getting out of them, and that will really contribute towards your sound answers on the day of exam. Okay, you can access my resources. I have been talking about in the last 30 minutes. I've done sessions on September 23 examiner report. I've done sessions on December 23 examiner report. I've done sessions on pre-scenes informations. I've done sessions on problems with pre-scenes, issues with pre-scenes, time management, a lot of productive videos. And these are all applicable September 23. They are not old videos. They're all latest videos from September 23 exams onwards. You can explore them at an easy hyperlink. You can note it down. That is bit.ly/SPL key resources by KK. That's quite simple to note it down. bit.ly/SPL key resources by KK. And that's where you get all the digital library of SPL September 23 exams, and you can explore them and can contribute heavily, particularly for students self-studying the SPL paper. Okay, that ends the story for this particular webinar. Day 1. Day 2 is about exam techniques. Day 2 is about where we will be exploring lots of techniques about how you write an answer, professional skills, journal professionalism, time management, lots of important stuff coming your way on day 2 tomorrow. But the day 1 today was more about finding the right resources like 2 examiner reports, like finding the past papers, a total 13 past papers. More importantly, the 15 technical articles to read. The resources you are utilizing for your studies and finding the gaps. And the more important thing we got was the timetable, which you need to stretch for 3 weeks, and what sort of things will go into the timetable, which you have to fit on your own basis. Okay, I hope you enjoyed the session today. If you have any questions relating to the approach, please ask me. Because if you have any questions relating to techniques, you can ask to me that tomorrow. So you have 5 minutes. Go ahead and start asking the Q&As. Yes, this is a free webinar, Babar. So all 3 days will be free. So you got the Zoom link where you registered today. The same link you will be utilizing for day 2 and day 3. Muhammad Mohsin is asking, sir, does pre-scene specify the topics to be examined? Not necessarily. ACCA examining team, SBL examining team, sorry, do tell us not to spot questions. That is a wrong practice. So yes, when you're reading through the pre-scene, you might see a reflection of governance, a reflection of risk, a reflection of technology, and you might relate it with those syllabus areas. You can polish those syllabus areas. You can read articles around those syllabus areas to be on the safe side. But it's not about you try spotting the questions because the examining team has covered governance. So you say, okay, let's find the top 5 questions on governance and do it. That's what the SBL examining teams refrain me as a tutor and you as a student from. I hope you're clear on that, Mohammed Mohsin Hussain. Okay, Muhammad Salman Siddiqui, sir, it is better to read prior paper pre-seen once and just then attempt the previous exam paper. Yes, 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 definitely. If you're doing any previous exam paper like September 23 or December 23, then it's essential that you read the pre-seen before as you're going for the real exam. So you do the pre-seen first, and after a day do the paper. So suppose you're solving a December 23 paper, Salman. So today do the pre-seen, tomorrow solve the paper. Okay, Osman Rana, so your previous debrief is very helpful. After how many days of pre-scene issues you will give the debrief? I normally give debrief after 7 days issuance of the pre-scene. So you said that pre-scene make you familiar with the industry, so it will help with the specified risk and governance involved within the industry. See, what SBL examining team expects from you is not to have an industry knowledge out of the pre-scene. So the you will only have knowledge of the industry and the company within the pre-scene and within the exhibits given to you on the day of exam. Examining team is not expecting that you know the risk and you know the characteristics of the industry outside the case study. But if there is something difficult in the pre-scene, you can Google it out. If there is a difficult terminology, you can Google it out and know the meaning. So you are very safe for the day of exam. I hope you're clear with that, Mohsin. Okay. There's a question from Noreen. So could you advise on time management? Noreen, time management is tomorrow. I have a whole time in my presentation tomorrow for time management. So please ensure you join it or watch the recording of day 2. And I will be telling you whether you should read the requirements first or exhibits after. What's the best approach, and what is the split of the reading and planning time and the writing time. So please do ensure you watch the day 2 tomorrow, Noreen. Okay, there's a question from Shakshi. Sir, this might be irrelevant to the webinar, but please can you share your advice on how to juggle between 2 papers during these last remaining days? I'm taking AFM and SPL this June. Already given you SPL, Shakshi, 19 days, a timetable. Same thing you have to do for AFM. Self-evaluate where you are standing, evaluate your challenges and your problems. You're giving 2 papers. Are you on job? Are you a full-time student? Try to find a timetable because till the time you don't make a timetable and you stick to it on everyday basis, giving 2 papers together is a big challenge. Okay, you are welcome, Mohsin. So I hope you all liked the session today, day 1. I hope you got some idea about how you will be approaching yourself over the next 19 days. I hope you got some fine tuning about how would you be devising your plan for the next 19 days and going down towards excellence in the June 24 exams. You can do you can do it on the same day, Salman. You can for the old papers, you can read the pre-scene on the same day and solve it on the same day. That's perfectly fine. You can even read the pre-scene one day, solve it on the next day. So you get the right exam rigor basically, because in the real exam, we read the pre-scene before and we take it to the exam hall 14 days after. So both cases are acceptable, right? I do give feedback on the mock for my registered students. Brihumati, if you are my registered paid student, so you can send me your mock and I'll give you the feedback on that. Yes, the old videos on mock and pre-scenes are valid because that's something new and that's something still applicable. Okay, all the best to all of you. Thank you so much for joining the day 1 of this webinar. I hope you thoroughly enjoyed the day 1. You got something good from this webinar. Was it effective? Did it meet your expectation, all of you? Did you got something out of the webinar today? Did it match your expectations when you joined the webinar day one? So you must be having some sort of questions in your mind. Was it effective? Okay, thank you so much, all of you. I'll see you back with day two. Please ensure you join tomorrow with the same Zoom link which was sent to you for day one, and the same will be used for day three. Goodbye. Take care. Have a nice day and study effectively. All the best for your exams. Your tutor, Kashif Kamran, signing off from the day one of SBL June 24 webinar.